Oh, all right.
Do you feel the pulse?
Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Look, we're not going to do no special intros, not going to do nothing crazy. It's just your GNT crew that's right here, right now. We're going to talk about the craziness that's happening on this draft. So, Tone, Joel, what's going on, brothers?
What's going
on?
My Instagram family, how y'all doing and stuff?
Yeah, what's
Yo,
going
yo,
on?
yo.
I know y'all on fire.
There's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, evening, whatever what time it is. Crazy.
What?
Yo, go ahead, Tone.
No, I was just gonna say, well, it ain't a good. Well, it's a good afternoon, but it wasn't a good couple days for the topic at hand.
Not at all. And look, let's get right into it, man, because there's a lot that happened and a lot of opinions that happened too. And I'm sure Taya, go ahead. I'm gonna try to slow down a little bit so Miss Taya Moore, First Lady, can go ahead and join in because we was talking about this the whole entire first day of the draft. But this Shedeur Sanders thing was crazy, bro. The last couple of days, I mean, in so much that all of us felt some kind of way. Just for my boy. You know what I mean? Like look, he didn't land on the Eagles or whatever team that a lot of people was following. He still got drafted to Cleveland. We'll get into that. But what happened to his fall from top 5 pick to 5th round pick is crazy, yo. It's crazy. And I said, like, I was thinking about that like crazy the last couple of days. And then Joe, when you sent out that message, like, yo, we got to talk about this because this whole entire thing is just messed up for this man. I definitely agreed, and we decided to go live. So tell us what you think, man. Both of y'all. Just go for it. Screw that.
So what I've been hearing or what I heard was that something called what is it called? Code switching? I think they said it was called or something like that. I took a screenshot on my phone, but clearly I'm on my phone. But it was something along the lines of like I guess maybe conducting himself a certain way to the media. And I guess allegedly he didn't, comply with that. And then also he, I guess, turned down some interviews and some meetings with certain teams because he thought he was a top 5 pick. So, I guess he was just figuring like, he ain't want to waste no time. I don't know if he was that cocky with it, you know what I'm saying, as far as like how he was delivering, saying no. And so they said that might could be something that triggered some teams to fall back, or once he did this, and then obviously with his dad being who his dad is, and then him putting that out there, and then they trying to say that even that little interview he did, when he was just like, if a team don't want to change their culture or they don't want to start winning, then don't draft me. So they, what I mean, and Chad Ochocinco said in that video that Joe posted earlier, man, like that they, we got to remember that they're gonna let us know, or not just us in general, but just like they're gonna let the person know that you ain't bigger than the program. You know what I mean? You're not bigger than the game. You're not bigger than the sport. So I guess maybe because he was really wearing his heart on his sleeve, and what I'm saying, but like I said, was confident that he was, if not the first quarterback taken, at least the second. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just reality. You know what I mean? That was with anybody who was tuned in, tapped into the draft. knew that his name would be called second if Cam Ward was taken first. You know what I'm saying? So, and you just have too many people, man, just in sports period that's saying that they've never seen anything like this. So it's clearly a target. I thought he was going to be blackballed and not really, you know what I'm saying, get drafted, man. It seems as if they took a step back because we're all on, it's just bringing up reliving the Kaepernick situation, you know what I'm saying, all over again. So, I mean, NFL, man, they messed up with this one, man. It seems like all the owners in NFL really, jumped on board to follow this movement. It even seemed like, uh, the Browns was even forced to draft them. I seen a clip of when they drafted them. They was all in there just clapping. Nobody was smiling. Nobody high fiving. Just like we seen, other teams when they drafted somebody, celebrate. And I seen somebody comment was like, "Oh, they actually did that with like their first pick." You know what I'm saying? The first round, like they wasn't, super duper, I guess, excited. But with all the attention and the media hype, and then that prank phone call that was given to that was made to Shedeur, man, like it's just crazy, man. Like I don't know what Dion did. I don't know what Shedeur did. It's an NFL. You know what I'm saying, or anything, man. But it's just sad to see, somebody with that much hype and talent as well, because his numbers and everything was better than all the other quarterbacks that got drafted before him too. Might I add? And then I seen that like Skip Bayless even said like, we could dead the notion that you're drafting an NFL off of talent because clearly you're not. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? For somebody like him, his caliber and like I said, the projection that they thought he was to go in the fifth round, crazy, man.
Yo, just real quick, Shamar World, I agree, man. He said his personality off camera and his pop played a huge role in his slide down. Would definitely agree with you, bro. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to this, man. I mean, I definitely think it was definitely a targeted thing as far as like how things went down and stuff like that. And I think it was just to send a message. I mean, I'm gonna go all the way back to the college. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? When his dad ended up taking Jackson State and then also going to Colorado. Here you go. So you got someone coming in with the fame, also being an ex-player, doing things differently at the college level, right? Where he's utilizing every single aspect from whether it's social media, whether it's ex-players, whether it's celebrities, whatever it is, to attract young stars that go to their college team and play for Colorado State at this moment. So I think it was really a threat to the NFL with taking this man early on,
Mhm.
basically proposing that that's the way they should run things in the NFL. So I think that was, to me, that's one of the things that I think weighed heavily on, like, hey, do you guys want to continue to do this? Because since then, since Dion has success, look at Michael Vick, look at Deshaun Jackson, look at all these guys that are ex-players that have that status that not necessarily your typical college coach has. You know what I mean? You typically have someone that played, that became a coach, that never made the NFL, and all that stuff. He flipped the scripts. He's changed the game. He changed the way of the college coach. And then I think that played a heavy role in exactly what happened because of the fact that, you know what I mean, they don't want that to basically cross over to the NFL where, you have, not only the player that's coming from that type of program have success, being an early round pick and stuff like that. And it can potentially affect Dion's team because of the fact that now if I'm a quarterback being highly recruited from Colorado State and I'm just seeing what happened to his son after he performed the way he did,
Yep.
I'm thinking twice about it. I'm like, damn, I really wanted to go over there, to play for Dion, but now I got to think about this because of the fact that his son just balled out. He was supposed to be projected top 10 pick, second, if not the third best quarterback in the draft, and he dropped all the way to the fifth round. That's crazy. So, you know what I mean? I think they clearly, and I don't want to say, they probably sent the message and said not to pick this man. We will never know.
Right.
But with all these analysts saying he's top two, top three quarterback in the draft, he shouldn't pass the second round to get picked in the fifth round. Something clearly beyond our conversations and our world has happened, and they clearly sent the message. So my thing was this morning, like last night, I'm like, yo, I can't believe this guy didn't get picked up in the second or the third round. This morning I woke up. There's all this news going around, all these, people posting stuff. That's all like, yo, we gotta jump on and talk about this because it's clearly something that's going on. And man, listen, like if it is something like that going on at that level in today's time, with what I posted, what Ocho Cinco said, during the nightcap on, with Shay Shay and all that, man, I just can't even believe like we're still at that point, with it being 2025. And if that played a huge role, man, we are behind as a society, as man, on all levels, because that shouldn't happen. It should go off of pure talent. There was a quarterback taken because of the COVID year that will be 26 years old by the time the season started that got picked over Shedeur. Like that is mind-boggling. No shots at him. He probably has the talents and all that stuff. But when you're thinking about, from a marketing standpoint, you can't tell me if you got Shedeur on your team is not going to sell tickets versus this 26-year-old that has potential, that doesn't have the name. You know what I mean? So even from a business standpoint, it didn't even make sense to me why some of these teams that are having attendance issues and getting, people to the stadium that just clearly passed on this guy for whatever reason that we don't know.
Just real quick, give me a second. Pulling this up. Get in there.
Yeah, man. To go off of that dude that you was just talking about that got drafted before Shador. For one, he like you said, 25 years old right now. He'll be 26 when the season starts. They said he only had one like productive season, what I'm saying, in his college career.
And
Um,
injuries
I think they said he played at school with he played in high
behind
school.
Herbert.
Yeah, like you how
I
you
believe he
back
was
up Justin
Herbert's
Herbert?
backup.
Yeah, like what like this dude gonna be 30 years old when he get in the league and still ain't, what I'm saying, going ain't have a better year, what I'm saying, or even career for that matter than Shador, man. I don't know if Dion did something to this team.
Take us back to your
That guy.
Right. Yeah. And listen, no shots to anybody that got selected, man, because they put in the work as well and stuff like that. But it's not even so much about that. It's just so much about the teams passing up on a clear talent that, all right, I get you probably didn't want to take him in the first round. You had other priorities on your team. Second round, okay. But for him to fall out past day two and end up in the fifth round after, listen, like, forget what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, listen, like we started this podcast a little over a year ago. You know what I mean? Like my knowledge is there with some football things, may not be like that. Same thing with Tom and Larry, but and I don't want to speak for them, but you have people that get paid, analysts that had this guy top two. Some people had him at one. And for him to fall in the fifth round and all these other quarterbacks being taken is absolutely outlandish, bro. And it's something clearly behind the scenes. Someone with not an injury history, with not off the field issues or anything like that. He
Mhm.
just happens to be Deion Sanders' son, you know, took Jackson State, ended up going to Colorado, playing things out there, turned that around. Clearly, you had the attendance. They did not sell out any seats in that stadium before they got there. So that's where I was saying from the business standpoint, it's like, bro, you got the name, you got the player. He's ranked second, he's ranked third. You're not taking him. You're taking all these other quarterbacks. You're having attendance issues. It was clearly a message and a shot at the Sanders family, bro. And it just sucks that we're at this time, still at this time, with today's world where it's like, bro, it's not one way of doing things. It's not his fault that he has the status, the clout, the swag, you know what I mean, and is able to get all these top high school recruits to go join Colorado State as he did with Jackson State. And I think this was clearly a shot. Like I said, now if I'm one of those athletes that's being recruited by Colorado and what just happened to his own son, that played at a good, at a high level and was ranked number 2, 3, or top, or even the top quarterback, I will be thinking twice about joining them. Because now, if you think about it, with Dion and the existing coaches in the college realm, right? It's not an even playing field for them as they're used to, because of the fact you have a celebrity ex-player coach that has rappers, that has celebrities, that has people coming to the training camps, to checking out the team. In addition to ex-players like Warren Sapp that are coming to help the team and coach the team on top of that.
Mhm.
So it's not like your regular, coaching, like coaching at the college level as they're doing it is not the same. So now it poses a threat. You don't think there's rumblings in the college world of like, yo, man, like, how are we supposed to compete with that? I wasn't an ex-player. I didn't play football and baseball. Like if you got Dion sitting in front of me versus someone else, you know what I mean? I'm looking at Dion like he been there, he done that. I want to go play for him. He knows in addition to teaching me the game, he could teach me what goes on in the NFL behind the scenes. And I think that's something that clearly is a threat of crossing over to the NFL, and they wanted to send a message. That's just my thinking and my logic behind it, man. But it is just sad, man.
Real quick, Shamar's World. I just want to just highlight what he said. He's saying this on Instagram. I'm just bringing it over to YouTube. The first thing he said was teams didn't want to have the media on him for the cockiness and the attitude he brings. I mean, that's one thing for sure. I mean, that's the thing we was hearing. But once again, is it the attitude that you're worrying about, or is it the actually ability that he has? Now, he did say this. He said, man was losing games at Colorado, bringing and blaming teammates. Okay, I can see that too. That could also go along with the idea of the attitude portion. But there's people that was in allegations this year when it comes to assault and all those things, which in my opinion is a whole lot worse than dealing with an attitude and dealing with like a personality that got drafted in the second and third round this year. I mean, look at Pierce Jr. Pierce Jr. had like all kind of like a horrible stigma on top of him when it comes to just his attitude and the fact that he didn't want to he would just walk out on certain practices and stuff like that. Like he had a bad stigma on him. Second round pick, or was he a third round pick? Either way, he got drafted before Shedeur, but that attitude didn't hurt his stock like as bad as what Shedeur did, and Shedeur was considered a top 5 pick. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's different. Go ahead, Tom.
No, it's definitely a shot, man, at the Sanders family, yo, because shit, Travis Hunter still got drafted. You know what I'm saying? Second pick. So, what I mean, they for whatever reason, like I said, I don't know what Dion did to the NFL, what kind of ties he had, what deals he didn't do, how he used to talk to them. They must just have, some kind of hate for him, and it trickled down to his son. You know what I mean? It's sad that that's the case. You know what I mean? Because clearly, it can't be anything other than, like I said, Deion Sanders being blackballed, or yeah, if we want to say about this attitude, is this attitude and all that off the field that bad? Is it really that bad?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
We had Lyle Collins that was in allegations of a murder. His baby mom was murdered. And this dude still made the NFL. So when we talk about an attitude versus murder, it's a straight target. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, for the Sanders family. Like I said, I don't know what that is. We'll never find out what that is. I even seen, when Deion was talking to his sons, and he was just like, I know what this, I know what it is. Like, you know what I mean? So they clearly know what it is. They'll probably maybe never, reveal it to get that messy. You know what I mean? And then for Cleveland to pick them, they had drafted a quarterback like 50 picks prior to that. So I don't get that. Like, so did they think that guy was better than Shedeur? You know what I'm saying? Like when they took him at the 94th pick, I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Even him getting drafted, it still doesn't really make sense because Cleveland has 5 quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
Right.
So, all right, he got drafted, which is cool. This is what we were waiting for. They maybe didn't want a bigger story. It's still gonna be a story, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if they just didn't want a catastrophe type story because him maybe not getting, drafted at all. But to be selected, to a team that already has four quarterbacks. Yeah, I get it. Main man probably not gonna play this year. Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So you got three other guys that's gonna be in competition. Um, Kenny Pickett. Then you got old Joe Flacco. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if they'll release him. And then, like I said, the other rookie guy who they drafted before this dude. Man, you know what I mean? Before getting here, man, I actually got sources, man. TTJ, man. Remember Tone, the journalist, man. My sources hit me up and said that what actually happened, man. This is G1 classified information, y'all. So listen up. What I heard was from my sources. Hold on, let me check. All right, yeah. The sources said that Shedeur Sanders got Roger Goodell's daughter's pregnant, and he didn't call her back, and he's just going MIA, and that's why this is happening. So that's that's what my sources told me, man. So
Big.
you know what I'm saying? That's yeah. Shador got Goodell's daughter pregnant. He's not answering the phone. He changed his number. He can't be found. So I can see that happening, man.
There you go. Breaking
TT
news.
TTJ Cap News.
Yeah, man. I love my sources, man. They be coming
Yeah,
through, man. I love my sources.
yo.
Uh,
Hey, listen, man. It's just wild that this happened, man, and that's why like the team was like, "Oh, we definitely got to jump on the sidebar live for this." But
mhm.
man, it's just crazy because, like Tone said, there's five people there, quarterbacks. Who's to say they were even going to give them time? They'll have them sit, and then the whole attitude thing and the cockiness, like bro, like I think it was Ocho Cinco that brought it up. You had Johnny Manziel, you had Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? They came in the league like very arrogant. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And you talking about like all these analysts at ESPN, the NFL Network, all these people that are paying these analysts X amount of money on a salary, have this man either one or two or maybe three top quarterback, and all these other quarterbacks get picked. I could see if it was only one or two that got picked, and he's the third quarterback getting picked in the fifth round. That's not the case.
Mhm.
So it's like, bro, this is clearly a snipe shot to the Sanders family, and it's like, yo, we gonna hit you where it hurts, embarrass you, tarnish your name, and then is a trickle down effect. You know what I mean? And I think really that's what it is, man. It's like, listen, like you gonna learn to respect the shield. You know what I mean? And I get that, some people, you know, uh, are getting, feeling some type of way about how they're going about things, not attending the draft, like a lot of little things that, you know, when you got a corporate America or NFL, like thing like that, like is like they want you to fall in line and follow suit. As soon as you go out of those lines, you know what I mean? They kind of want to, make you get a reality check. You know what I'm saying? And you know, me thinking, from the Sanders side is like, look, we don't need your money. Money's not an issue. It's more so, something like that. But it's like, they want to do things their way, and they're like, listen, like you want to do your things your way, but we're gonna do things our way also. And you know what I mean? Again, this is me speculating and speaking, my thoughts. So I don't want to say there's no. I ain't talked to TTJ, the journalist, and giving out no type of source. This is just me thinking of what's going on. But clearly, something is glaring with this whole situation, man. And unfortunately, it's just Shador is the casualty of the NFL, whoever's sending the message. It could just be I don't know. I don't know how it goes, but there
Mhm.
was a lot of things, that we've seen through the years, of the NFL that some things get swept under the rug, some things don't. Like Larry was saying, you got people that, were murderers or whatever. You got people that, was getting rape allegations, like the dude Ariza, the punter. You know what I mean? He's still in the league and stuff like that. He got drafted, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame because it's not an off the field issue. It's not, no injury thing. The numbers was there as far as, the performance wise, the passing the eye test. And then, even from a business standpoint, it's like, damn, we're having attendance issues. Let me make sure, we could get this guy. That's why Jags moved up and grabbed Travis Hunter. because they know he going to bring, the swag to the team, get seat, get some people in the seats, stuff like that. Shedeur would have did the same thing for you, but for whatever reason, they didn't do it. And they already did it in Colorado, so you can't tell me any different. They went from never having sellouts to sellouts, from one season to the next when Dion and Shedeur got there and he brought his whole program from Jackson State over there. So it's clearly, I think, a threat to what just happened to the college world, and they were kind of like trying to, pump the brakes on it and slow them down, while they were going, fast down the tracks and, crossing over to the NFL and say, all right, you're going to get to the NFL, but you know what I mean? We're going to let you know how things are being ran around here. And that's just me speculating.
Yeah. Just an example. I needed to pull up this information real quick. Perfect example for me. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon drafted 2017. Joe Mixon clearly had a video that posted about him slapping the mess and dragging that lady in that restaurant, right? That hurt his draft because he was supposed to be a first-round draft pick. When was he drafted? Second round, pick 48. It hurt his draft stock, but he still was drafted in the second round. And that's with video footage of him assaulting someone. Now, granted, it was in retaliation of what happened in the past, but that doesn't matter. The NFL saw that video. He was made an example, still drafted in the second round.
So that means that the NFL message to me, you know what I'm saying? The NFL message to me would be like, all right, you can slap a chick, on camera, beat her all up, still get drafted, but you can't, think highly of yourself off the field. That's just what the NFL just told me.
That's crazy.
with that comparison. Like,
Listen, man.
Make it make sense, man.
Listen, and I'm going to be the first one to admit, because I was knocking it like crazy. And you guys is on record on the podcast in another episode. We sat there and talked about LeBron and Bronny and all that he did for his son to push him to get drafted in the second round and have the Lakers take him. And listen, man, and he didn't really play a role in his wasn't LeBron Bronny's coach, none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a father that did everything right. I mean, bro, just think about that father and son connection, where you're my son, I'm your coach. We go flip the script at Jackson State, go to Colorado, go from non-sellouts to sellouts, and then now I prepared you from a mental standpoint to know what to look out for in the NFL and how to do things and be your own man and have your voice, put your best foot forward, all those type of things, and get you prepared for that next level, put the numbers up, be potentially the top quarterback second, if not third, and for whatever reason, he don't get selected. But LeBron sat there, fought for his son, and got him selected, even though he probably wasn't potentially ready. But, man, I'll take all that shit back, bro, from what LeBron did for his son, because this is the type of shit that can happen, that just happened to Shedeur Sanders. That was well-deserving, at least the minimum of a third-round pick, bro.
Right.
And it just sucks that we even having this conversation, man. And hopefully, man, we just need to do better all around, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm not even going to say second round pick, man. He should have been drafted in the first round. Like I said, all throughout
being
modest,
generous.
right.
Modest about it. I agree.
He was the only quarterback other than Cam Ward being really talked about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they wasn't talking about them other guys who got. I mean, maybe they were, but not as much.
Not like
you know
that.
What I'm saying? Like Cam and Shedeur was the league top dogs for the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? They was even thinking that Shedeur would have been overall number one. So how the fuck does he fall to the fifth round like that? Nobody is obviously going to ever explain it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? It really don't make sense. And to your point, Joe, of like we, with the eye test, like everything is the eye test, right? We seen, or we knew, our opinion was that Bronny wasn't ready for the league. But you know what I'm saying, Bron's stature and shit, Dion got a stature, you know what I'm saying, in the NFL, being the best corner that ever fucking played the game. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, the coach's son and Dorsey's son, they went to two programs and turned them around. You know what I'm saying? So everything was positive. You know what I'm saying? As far as the moves that they was making. Why? Because they wanted, they showed it watch, you know what I'm saying, when he get the victory, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what time it is. They think he's really coming with the glitz and the glamour like his dad did back, you know what I'm saying, when he was drafted and all this and that. But it was like, yo, that don't make sense, man. You know what I'm saying? So did Goodell or the owners, come together and say, yo, we gonna teach this kid a lesson, and and Dion a lesson, and what I mean, showing, or like, if, was this something to show other kids, not to maybe act away? And like I said, only thing that I think I've ever really seen him do crazy, if you want to say the watch thing was crazy, or extra cocky, or bragging and boasting, and you know what I'm saying, like. Who ain't confident in their game, you know what I'm saying, or thinking they the man, or you know what I'm saying, like, you, who ain't gonna endorse yourself better than yourself, you know what I'm
Facts.
saying? So I don't know, man. It's just crazy, yo. Shouts out to him, man, for getting drafted. Yo, I wish that kid nothing but the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna actually try to go out and get his jersey, man. You know what I'm saying? Just to support, you know what I'm saying? And I know he probably don't really. I mean, I know he cares. You know, there's something inside of him is, you know what I'm saying, hopefully fueling him to, go into that Cleveland camp and just try to be the best. My man, what's my man who I just seen him. It's the boy Brian Baldinger. I just seen him. Make a little, and he was like, listen. He was like Shedeur Sanders. You know what I'm saying? He's a good player, and he was like, he also thought highly of himself. Thought he was, this and that at Colorado. He said he did his thing at Jackson State. He went to Colorado, did his thing. He was like, and if you believe that you're the man and that you're good and you're supposed to be there, he was like, day one when you step in Cleveland, he said you better show them that team that. You know what I'm saying? He was like, nobody else can obviously speak for you but yourself. So he's like, go in there, do your thing. And then he was like, and obviously in the NFL or in any sport, he was like, the best player is always going to play, right? And Maurice Jones-Drew was on the panel with him, and he said that. He was like, yeah, he was like, because during training camp, he was like, if let's just say Miles Garrett, if he sees who's playing well, and he go to management or he go to the team, officials like, yo, this kid is playing, put him in. He was like, they'll listen to that. So it was like, don't get down, don't get discouraged. You know what I mean? Just because there's five quarterbacks in that room now. He was like, go in there, do your thing, ball out, and show them people you belong. And then obviously the rest will take care of itself.
First lady's tuning in on IG. She says Shedeur is happy and I'm happy for him. Now go out, now go ball out. Absolutely, and shut them up. Lay, look, Tone, you're 100% right. How you think Hurts got his first start in his rookie year? Because he was supposedly, going by what they're saying, especially Alshon Jeffries, he's saying that he was torching the Eagles defense during practice. And they was going over to management is like, yo, you got to get this boy in the game because Carson Wentz right now is stinking it up. So you got to at least try this ball here and see what he's able to do. And that's how he's able to get some starts. So you're 100% right. That's an example. And I mean, Shedeur, you have, like you said, you have Watson that's hurt. You have Kenny Pickett that's there. You got the other rookie that just signed. Yeah, now's the
Flacco.
time.
They got
Flacco's
Flacco
there
too.
right off the couch. So if you're supposed to be that guy, like we're all saying, we're angry he wasn't drafted. So now you're drafted. Now you're in the room. All right. Now it's time for you to go ahead and show up. Show up and show out. Now he has his opportunity. And now you got a chip on your shoulder. Now you have no choice but to say, like, yo, it doesn't matter what my last name is, because now I gotta make a name for myself. Because apparently my name didn't get me drafted early. So therefore I gotta make a name for myself. Yo, that may make the boy hungry. And that's what I'm hoping. If he may not have been ever hungry, you know how they say, like, the children of ones that's extremely successful is not exactly as hungry as the ones that was, as their parent. Now, Michael Jordan kids, for example, he's never going to be as hungry as what his father was. So with that being said, I'm hoping this sparks like that flame underneath Shedeur for him to go ahead and step up and be even greater than what we even thought originally possible. That's what I'm hoping.
Listen, my man has the most motivation right now. You know what I'm saying? Because if they really think it was a shot towards the family, towards his father, that's been there since day one, from Jackson State to Colorado, and got this man where he's at today, it's personal, bro. That
Yep.
dude is, listen, like, I don't know personally like what his work ethic looks like, but I know that's gonna be times 10 now. And just like Tone said, man, I wish him nothing but the best.
Mhm.
Only thing he needs on his side is God and health, bro. And he just needs to go in and listen, man. Hopefully he comes out on the other side. And when that first contract year comes, oh man, that's gonna be the ultimate get back and put the respect on the Sanders name.
Absolutely.
And you know what, man? This too. Um, now because of the hype, like you said, all was around him. During the season and during this draft combine, draft process, leading up to the draft day, he was obviously supposed to go high. Now, who was the guy who they said was working with him and tutelaging him through his college career? Like
I
working with him
believe
quarterback wise.
I believe it was the same quarterback coach that Cam Ward had.
No, I'm
The
talking about
the
us
trainer?
off. I'm talking about no, no, no. I'm talking about like off the field. Like
Oh,
he was
off the
having
field?
personal
Nah.
workouts
I know
with
they Cam Ward and him have the same
the same
trainer.
quarterback.
Like you're
Well, Tom Brady was the one who what I
Oh,
mean
you're talking about.
was working with Shedeur Sanders. Like Dion probably hooked that up.
hmm
Was working with him, had him. I'm teaching him how to read pockets, all types of stuff, right? And what round was that man drafted in? The
there you go.
sixth
Six.
round, right? So, what I'm saying? No, Tom Brady probably wasn't, what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if his stature was just the same as Shador, coming out of college being, he should have been taken first or second and then slipped to the sixth round. You know what I'm saying? The round that he's getting drafted in, we can't worry about that because, like I said, the GOAT was drafted in the sixth round. But obviously, of course, the topic of conversation is that this man shouldn't have been drafted in the fifth round. But obviously, that's his story. Like I said, it's great that he's working out, like I said, with Tom Brady, man, who was drafted in the sixth round. So Tom could probably take him under his wing right now. Say, listen, kid, you know what I mean? I was drafted in the sixth round, and look how many rings I got, and look at what they trying to say I am to this game. So don't let that, like you said, Joe, don't let that bring him down. Have that be the ultimate motivation factor for him. And I don't know if he'll get any time next year, you know what I'm saying? Unless he just obviously be a star-studded, quarterback throughout preseason training camp, things like that, and he get a shot. But man, once he get on that field, man, I hope he never, you know what I mean, like sit down and have a wonderful, successful career. Like we saying, show all the people, you know what I'm saying, what they missed out on, you know what I'm saying? All the naysayers, the doubters, you know what I'm saying? I hope he do real well, man.
Yo, before we go ahead and shut this
Absolutely.
down, just a real quick reminder: if the biggest, I guess, motivating factor that Tom Brady had, and they had a show on, I want to say it was NFL Network. Was I think they call it the Brady Six, and Tom Brady remembers every single quarterback that got drafted before him, exactly what round, what pick, what everything. And the whole entire time that he played, he remembered those quarterbacks by name and by draft pick. Shedeur, all you gotta do is just remember every single draft pick that got picked before you and make that your motivation. And I'll even go out of my way to torch the New York Giants, which will make me happy as the Eagles fan, because not just the fact that they went ahead and drafted the quarterback in the first round. They traded back up into the first round and still didn't draft that man. So when we all thought like, oh, they're going back in against the door, and that got dark. So with all that being said, no, you got your motivations. Just like you said, guys. He has your no, you got your motivation now, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do. So hey, look, that's what we think about this whole entire situation. The question is, what do y'all think about it? So comment below. What y'all guys think? Drop it down in the comments on YouTube. Drop it down in the comments on Instagram. Trust me, we're going to read every single comment, and just tell us what you think. Is it, or do you feel the same way like Shamar's World actually felt on Instagram? How it was his attitude and everything that got Shedeur in that situation, or do you think he was he was blackballed because of just his name and the legacy that he has to carry? What do you think? Drop it down in the comments below. We appreciate every single one of y'all for tuning in and being there with us while we talked about this. We had to get this off our chest because this was bothering us for, like I said, literally since Friday night when that man didn't get drafted. So we appreciate y'all guys so much. God bless every single one of y'all. Until next time, we out.